surrounded, what do you call them? The Kremlin line of them being under threat from Ukraine, which is complete nonsense. It's pretty well understood in Russia in terms of they understand the difference. So we, of course, going to continue in all possible directions and whatever efforts it takes to talk to anyone in Russia about the need to stop immediately and return back to negotiations and diplomatic resolution. However, there's no chance we accepting Putin's ultimatum that he recently announced about Ukraine pretty much submitting to Russian ruling and giving up its sovereignty and territorial integrity, submitting or surrendering even more territory. That's not acceptable. We will fight. We are prepared to fight, but we are prepared to negotiate also.
Vladimir Putin has said this, he's called this a special operation. Everybody else has declared this as uncategorically a war. And Antonio Guterres, the head of the UN Security Council, has described it as a saddest moment for him as head of the UN. And he's still appealing. He said in the name of humanity, appealing to Vladimir Putin to bring his troops back to Russia. Is that where you feel the most effect could be made right now at the UN Security Council, or do you feel there are other means, other ways in which you can maybe turn this from the brink?
Well, we have demanded for a full-fledged action package that would cripple Russian economy for a long time. Unfortunately, it was not done, and we see the consequences now. However, we believe that this would be the final call, so to speak, and Russian economy would get crippled. We certainly of the opinion that will have a significant effect on the mood at the Russian elite and Russian people. And it's also, in general, the security situation. I mean, Ukraine has nuclear power stations with 15 nuclear power blocks. I mean, I don't even want to go into the issue of what might happen if rocket and air bombardments start around Ukraine, and that is perfectly understood in Russia too. Therefore, we're calling on the international community to make all the possible efforts to give Ukraine all the assistance that is necessary. Financial assistance at this point becomes extremely important because, of course, you understand that the economy would now go completely into the war mood. That will certainly have very strong impact on the Ukrainian financial system and also arms supply. We know we can put up a pretty strong resistance.
If I may ask you, do you believe this is an all-out offensive, an all-out attack on the whole of Ukraine, an invasion of Ukraine, in fact?
Well, we were waken up by explosions, and now it's sort of quiet, at least where I am, and the reports that we are getting that it's all under control. The interpretation that Kremlin always had for the ground to these actions is, of course, that there's something very interesting for historians to work with, but that's been a typical Kremlin way of blaming the victim for behavior of the victim when the attacker, when the assault is planned. So everybody now, the whole world understands very well the reasons for this attack. So there's no way Russia could push through this narrative that Ukraine provoked, that Ukrainians neo-Nazis or whatever he's calling the people in Ukraine who are patriotic and ready to defend their country. So that interpretation will not work. And definitely that won't help him. And I'm pretty sure that won't help him to explain his actions inside Russia too.
Ukrainian MP Vadim Halechuk speaking to us earlier from Kiev.
Yes, this is the day when it appears Russia has begun its full-scale invasion of Ukraine. That is certainly what Ukrainian officials are saying. Explosions have been heard in numerous cities around the country. It comes after the Russian President, Vladimir Putin, gave his approval for military operations, apparently just limited to the Donbass region. That is where Russia has recognized two separatist regions, Russian-backed rebels there, as independent countries. One Ukrainian MP told the BBC World Service that at least 6 people had been killed in his district, not far from Odessa, that's in the south of Ukraine. He said he feared at least 100 Ukrainians there had already lost their lives. Some Ukrainian officials say a Russian fighter plane has been shot down, while Russian media says 2 Ukrainian towns have been taken by Russian-backed rebels in the Donbass area. Ukrainians in Kyiv woke up this morning to this sound. Air raid sirens in Kyiv. The Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky also made an appeal directly to Russians to reject an attack, saying they were being lied to about Ukraine. He urged the Russian people to help de-escalate the situation.
The truth is, it needs to stop before it's too late. If the leadership of Russia doesn't want to sit at the table with us for the sake of peace, maybe it will sit at the table with you. Do you Russians want war? I would really like an answer to this question, but the answer depends only on you, citizens of the Russian Federation.
The President of the European Commission, speaking just a few minutes ago, Ursula von der Leyen, condemned the action of the Russian President. She said that President Putin was trying to turn the clock back to the times of the Russian Empire. She's calling on Russia to immediately stop violence. She says they will let President Putin tear down the security architecture that's given Europe peace and stability over many decades. The UK Minister James Cleverly has just said the UK is bringing forward an unprecedented and coordinated sanctions package against Russia. Plenty more of all this to come here on the BBC World Service.
You're listening to the BBC World Service, and here's what's happening in the studio this week. Hello, I'm Bola Mosuro, and in this week's In the Studio, we're homing in on the creative process of a very special guest, the Booker Prize-winning Nigerian author and poet, Ben Okri. In this program, we hear how a poem forms like a plant, waiting to sprout. In the Studio at bbcworldservice.com/in the studio.